I started going down a rabbit hole comparing stuff from Lost in Space and Star Wars, because famously, George Lucas had John Williams, who wrote the soundtrack for Lost in Space.
Yeah,
they were using sound effects that were being used by Alan Irwin Productions.
Yeah,
there's a whole rabbit hole,
dude,
of stuff. Give me a second. I'll go find it.
So, funny thing, the rebirth of Lost in Space had this real staccato, triumphant intro song. And I had company over the first time watching the first episode. And I said to the dude that was here, I was like, you hear how desperately this composer wants to be John Williams from Star Wars? And then we looked it up on IMDb and it was him.
It was John Williams. Where am I going?
Yeah. But it made it really like, that dude's got that thing, right? Everything is just, you just want them to win. It's just so,
See, John Williams has an amazing knack of stealing other people's music without you realizing it.
Yeah. Well, like Picasso himself said, good artists create, great artists steal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a movie called Ice Cold and Alex. It's a famous war film with John Mills, and they're taking like an ambulance through the desert and they're trying to get back to Alexandria.
Right.
But if you is that the video? Yeah. If you watch the film, it starts off with da da dum da da dum da da. No, it doesn't do that. It just goes da da. It loses it. But the first bit it's all there, and it's also got the dum 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 dum.
He's rewritten the Imperial March, right?
Yeah. It's like it's fucking there. Plain as day. There was a Robin Hood film which was da 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 da, and it's like okay, yeah. He just basically lifted it, finished it off, polished it, and made it great.
But they a lot of them do that. James Horner, before his untimely death, was famous for that. He just always reused these little themes with minor variations, right?
Well, James Horner kind of like is the same as Michael Kamen. They kind of like reuse their own stuff all the time as well.
Yeah.
All right.
But
okay, shall I send you to the green room or in here?
Yeah, green room. But the thing, put yourself in the position of the composer. The movie's pretty much done and ready, and now you're being given scenes and like composed for this. Okay, be quick. We're ready, and like I can imagine under that kind of pressure, they're like, okay, I'm just going to use my roots, and away we go. Right? You get what you get. Right? I mean, you don't have a year to sit down and create a record, right?
Please, anybody in the chat, don't get me wrong, because these people who we are talking about were absolute masters of the game. They are great. And John Williams came up with some of the most fantastic pieces of film score.
Right?
We always go back to a Superman theme, one of the greatest opening themes.
Oh God, that it's unbelievable, right?
That's Star Wars.
no, oh yeah, right. I mean, God damn it,
yeah.
I'm visualizing the blue text flying at me right now.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to listen to the albums when I was a kid because I was a fucking nerd, right? And my dad used to say, "Oh, they all just sound the same." Then he put on his 40 albums of hooked on classics, which were classical music, but with a drum beat added to it, because now it's all of a sudden modern and cool.
Right after Star Wars, my dad brought me home a cassette, and it was the soundtrack to Star Wars, but discoized, and it was the most abomination.
No, but wait, was that the actual single that was released prior to Star Wars? You know,
I don't know, actually. I don't know the history. I just remember putting it on and going, but it's discoed, you know?
I know. But the thing is, when I first bought the album for Star Wars, you know, I got it for like 50p because it was like a knockoff version of it. And I was like shell shocked because I'd heard the disco track. You know, on the radio all this time, and this thing comes on, and it's fucking classical shit. Yeah, what's all this? Because I was expecting Star Wars to sound like a disco,
to sound like a Bee Gees movie.
Yeah, and I've always wondered what it'd be like to redub the entire movie, but with that style of music.
Wow. Yeah.
So AI.
But you'd have to use some visual trickery to make everybody's collar bigger. You know,
put Chewbacca in flares.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bell bottoms all the way around, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I'd love to. But I've always wanted to do it. Redo Star Wars like a 1930s Flash Gordon series. So you know, with the rocket ships with fireworks out the back of them, and you know, all that kind of shit. That would be great. And the stormtroopers would just be like huge, bulky men, but dressed in really tight white shorts and shiny helmets. A group that, you know, looked like they were the kind of people Freddie Mercury actually wanted to carry his coffin, right? Exactly.
So here, are we playing this?
Okay. So let me give it a quick intro. So I was going down the rabbit hole trying to do this documentary about Lost in Space, and you know, I was just getting lost all over the place. It was a huge project, and I started noticing all these kind of like exactly the same. Whatever you want to call them, comparisons between Star Wars and Lost in Space. And I was actually shocked with how similar Lost in Space and Star Wars was, especially considering that George Lucas seemed to be a big fan of Lost in Space. Play the video.
All right, here we go.
Now, there's another character in science fiction I'm pretty much convinced is based on Dr. Smith. See what you think.
At last! Where have you been? What are we going to do? We'll be sent to the spice mines of Kessel or smashed into who knows what.
No, I will not be quiet, Chewbacca. Why doesn't anyone listen to me? You don't see how that is going to help. Surrender is a perfectly acceptable alternative in extreme circumstances.
You sententious sloth.
You overweight glob of grease.
Reputable dunderhead.
You nearsighted scrap pile.
Digitized dunce.
Malfunctioning little twerp. This is all his fault.
It's all your fault, you computerized cod.
I've got to rest before I fall apart.
I've simply got to rest. Oh. We're doomed.
Oh, wait for me!
Oh, the need! Wait for me! Hey, you dirty, come back!
Wait for me!
Wait for me!
Wait!
Yeah, let's wait a minute, because there's something else I want to show you.
Where is Mr. Kima?
I am Mr. Kima.
No, it can't be.
It's Akbar.
Yeah, where have we seen that before?
I am your father.
No. It's not true. That's impossible.
What do you think? The most iconic scene in modern cinema history, lifted from Lost in Space? Oh, that's funny.
It's a good catch. There's, you know, but George Lucas has always tried to be open about the fact that he was very fond of a lot of these other things and whatnot, but he never actually comes out and says, I literally just, poked and prodded and stole it all.
Yeah, it was probably Empire Strikes Back, one of the best films ever made, was probably created in the editor's room, just lifting bits from other movies, and they put it all together and they go, right, can we just like fill that out now, but make it look like a bit like AI, here's the base model, now convert that into Star Wars, please. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. The first time people watched the first Star Wars, a lot of the science fiction stuff hadn't been done, like the special effects shots and whatnot. And they watched it, and it was World War II footage. But when you compare the footage that was in the World War II clips to the footage you see in the movie, it's almost shot for shot.
Yes, it was an interesting thing about this, because I spotted this, and there has been subsequently been videos about this. But the trench run on the Death Star is lifted from the dam busters. Yeah. Even so much as they're flying down the trench, going, how many guns do you count, Gold 5? There's about 20 guns, some on the surface, some on the towers. Yeah. It's all in the dam busters, line for line. It's right there.
Yeah.
And even so much as, in the dam busters, they go for the target, they fly over, they miss. Oh, it's glanced off. Right, okay, next run. And that's, it's like, it's the fucking trench run from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Line for line. And people have done, seen comparisons, and it's literally the fucking same thing.
Oh, yeah, but he still got billions when he sold it to Disney. It's hilarious, right?
Yeah. Should have sold him a DVD of the Dam Busters.